Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna say something that's never been said in the history of the world. I think I might have to rewatch a Michael Bay movie because I missed some fine details of the plot. So I just finished watching Six Underground, which I've been watching for 5 months. I think I started, 1 or 2 days after it was released. I think it came out in December of last year, and I remember hating it, but being very confused because I tend to like Michael Bay movies, I tend to like Ryan Reynolds movies, and I found it, so like 3 times I tried to get through just the first 10 minutes, and I absolutely couldn't do it. I found it excruciating. But I had enough people who I know are not morons. I've seen them pull on pull doors. They've met that metric. They push on push doors, they pull on pull doors, and they're like, it's pretty good, give it a chance. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And here's the deal about this movie. I love the idea of this movie. So what is Six Underground? Okay, so first of all, a couple misconceptions. I assumed, since it was on Netflix, it was going to be some micro-budget version of a Michael Bay. So it was like, it's going to have his name on it. It's probably mainly directed by, like, stunt choreographers and, the people who do the storyboards and stuff like that. But no, it's an actual Michael Bay movie. I guess at some point there was maybe an idea that it might go into theaters, but, like, I still don't understand how Netflix works. So they can buy a movie for $150 million that's going to show on Netflix. But I feel like the math does not add up for all the things that they're buying. And from what I little know about their stocks, like they're scheduled to be profitable at the heat death of the universe, sometime around there. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, like, it's a real movie. Now, there are little cheap things, like there's a lot of digital stuntmen. The car will go through a market and it'll hit all these bad guys, and it's kind of like 2011 video game ragdoll physics. So you're like, really? So it's about, it's Grandma's Boy. It's Grandma's Boy. It took me a while to figure out why I liked it until I realized that it's Grandma's Boy. Why do I call it Grandma's Boy? Because Grandma's Boy was an Adam Sandler movie that didn't have Adam Sandler in it. It was basically made up of characters that would have been supporting characters in any other Adam Sandler movie, portrayed by actors who were Adam Sandler's friends, and somehow it works. Like, you're never, like, waiting around for Adam Sandler. Like, it totally works. This one does not totally work, but it basically, you ever watch one of those awful Michael Bay Transformers movies? Although they're not all awful. The first one is okay. It's fine. There's nothing that wrong with it. It's basically exactly what it wants to be. I believe the third one has a really awesome final 30 minutes. And then I actually liked, what was the one where there's like Arthurian robots? Like, that one was stupid as hell, but there were parts of it that I liked. The one introducing the Marky Mark character, where he's like the world's worst dad, I actually just straight up walked out of that one over there in, wherever it was, Tan Fran Mall over there in on the peninsula. But I almost never walk out of a movie, and I walked right out of that. So what is Six Underground? Have you ever been watching a Michael Bay movie and you said, I wonder how regime change goes about in this world? Because, in whatever, Bad Boys or The Rock, we focus on some cops or FBI agents, but there's a whole other world. There's people just, trading, soybean futures somewhere in that world. So you're like, what are the other people like in that world? Oh, they're all screamo weird assholes. So that's how everyone is. Everyone screams. They say random pop culture things. It literally feels like half of the script is stuff that Michael Bay just said. Say this. Why? It'll be funny. We'll make it work. Does he make it work? Kind of. So I would say the biggest problem from this is the tone of the lead character. Ryan Reynolds plays Ryan Reynolds, a Ryan who Reynolds. He plays Ryan Reynolds. The problem is the character does not call for Ryan Reynolds. There is a very obvious Ryan Reynolds role in this story played by not Chadwick Boseman. So one of the ways they got things a little cheaper and more affordable is there's only really one person in this whole movie you've heard of. So only one person is getting really, really good pay in the cast, and everyone else is like, I think I might have seen this guy somewhere, or possibly not. So Ryan Reynolds plays paramilitary Elon Musk. They say he's a tech guy, and he basically invented magical magnets that can do anything. Except for we don't see him use this stuff till almost the end of the movie, and then it basically turns into like a Warner Brothers silly symphonies. It's crazy. So he's a guy who was Ryan Reynolds as a tech billionaire. He realized that refugees have bad lives, and he saw a bombing, and then he left his wife and child to fake his death to form a vigilante, as Tom Green says, a vigilante group, and of Screamo Bay movie universe idiots, and like one normal guy in the Chadwick Boseman role. That's why I say it's the Chadwick, and anyone in the Chadwick. The thing is that the Chadwick Boseman role probably should have been Ryan Reynolds. He should have been like the wacky Delta Force sniper who's a little unhinged, and he gets recruited. And so there are actually a lot of things I like about this. Number one, now I remember this was, you could never say this in the 1990s. You were reading, Cahiers du Cinéma or Film Comment. But Michael Bay is an auteur. He's on a tour. If you believe in auteur theory, he qualifies. He has a singular vision, and there's no denying when you are watching a Michael Bay movie. And this one was, I don't know, it's such a cliche to say something is punk rock, but it's kind of wild. Like, just at one point we're seeing the evil dictator, and he's got like this, meathead, muscle-bound bodyguard, and the bodyguard has a t-shirt that has an arrow that points at his head and says, "The Man," and then that points at his crotch and says, "The Legend." And in the middle of the scene, he's like, "What are you doing? Like, why did you wear that shirt to work?" He's like, "I have bad taste." And it's like, you would never see something like that in any other movie ever, except for Michael Bay on, when they're going to, he sees the prop department, the clothing department. He's like, "Oh, that's a funny shirt. Put that on the weightlifter guy." They're like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." Everyone else is like, dressed very, professionally. It's like, "No, I'll just get like a one-off joke out of it." Underground, Six Underground is a group of people with code names that aren't supposed to tell each other's names, that they fight the bad guys that, the regular governments won't go after. Here's what I liked. Now, usually in this situation, you'll do a bunch of montages of, them taking down human traffickers in Paris and drug dealers in Mexico and this and that. No, they're pretty much focused on one guy. And I wouldn't say he was like the most hateable guy ever. He's a dictator of a country they barely show in any way. And the movie is filmed in like a couple places, but like one country doubles as like 6 others. At one point they're like, New York City. It's clearly not New York City. I saw, where was I seeing? Somebody was making fun of Hallmark movies, and they talked about the lead, and they said the lead character lives in stock footage of Manhattan that still has the Twin Towers in it. But they're basically going after this one vaguely Middle Eastern dictator from a country called Turkestan, whatever. And it's just a bunch of weird, very actually kind of cool, inventive action set pieces, some weird character moments. It's really, really odd. Honestly, it's like some weird kind of experimental student film making fun of action movies but liking them at the same time. And you might say, how is that different than any of Michael Bay's other movies. Got him! But anyway, I liked it. The main thing that kept breaking it was Ryan Reynolds playing the lead. The role is written for a more somber guy, and then his team is all the crazy ones. So, like, he's kind of like this on this edge, like, you know, he'll like put a gun to your head if you don't do what you're told. But then, like, every scene has to end with him smiling and trying to be charming and Ryan Reynolds-esque, and it gets really annoying really fast. So, do I recommend it? I mean, it's on Netflix, and you're on house arrest because you breathe, so yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'm I'm watching like 6 other movies, like 5 minutes at a time, so I have no idea what I'm going to review next. Thanks, bye.